Quran, chapter 12, Yusuf, Revelation place Mecca, Revelation order 53, number of verses 111. Yusuf story time frame. Egypt in the Middle Kingdom, period 1650 to 1550 BCE, was around the time of the Hyksos, who were comprised of a group of West Asian invaders who ruled the northeastern part of Egypt around current-day Syria and Palestine for 100 years. After the recent discovery of the Rosetta Stone, we learned that the rule of the Pharaoh had disappeared for a short while, coinciding with the period when the king of the Hyksos colonized Egypt and the Israelite tribe moved to Egypt. This chapter was revealed during the last stage of the Prophet's stay at Mecca, year 622 CE. It was a time when the pagans of Mecca were considering killing him. Same time, the Jews suggested to Mecca pagans to test the Prophet Mohamed by asking him, why did the Israelites go to Egypt? Knowing that the history of the Israelites was not known to the Arabs, therefore that would expose the Prophet. So the Prophet recited to them this chapter on the spot. I seek refuge with Allah from Satan the condemned, with the name of Allah the gracious, the merciful. Alif Lam Ra. Allah did not guide us to the meanings of these standalone letters. These are the verses of the clear book. We have sent it down in Arabic recital so that you may ponder it. We recount to you the best of stories by which we have revealed to you this Quran. Thought before it you were unaware. Allah addressing Muhammad, we will relate to you the actual event of the story in the order they happen. Thought before we revealed it to you, you did not know, learn, and could not have read or prepared for it. When Yusuf said to his father, "O my father, I saw 11 stars and the sun and the moon. Then I saw them to me prostrating," said, "O my son, don't relate your vision to your brothers. Then they will plot for you a plot. For Satan to humans is a declared enemy." Means Satan will use this vision to steer your brothers to plot for you. Like this, your God shows you and teaches you about affairs interpretation, mean dream interpretation, and complete his favor upon you and upon the family of Jacob, as he completed it on your fathers from before, Abraham and Isaac. Indeed, your God is knowing, wise. Indeed, were in Yusuf and his brothers signs for those who are asking. Example, the Jews asked the pagans of Mecca who were plotting to kill Muhammad to test Muhammad by asking him, why did the Israelites go to Egypt? And they, Yusuf, eldest brothers, said, surely Yusuf and his brothers are more beloved to our father than we, while we are a band. Indeed, our father in a clear error. Yusuf and his brother are two children whose mother has died, and their father Jacob expressed more care and sympathy for them over his older sons from another mother who was band together and is able to rely on themselves. Kill Yusuf or cast him in the land. These are Yusuf's brothers conspiring. That will vacate to you your father's face, and after that you become righteous folks. Said a speaker among them, don't kill Yusuf, just throw him in the hidden part of a well to be picked up by some caravan. They said, O our father, why don't you entrust us with Yusuf, and we will be for him guiding. Send him with us tomorrow to enjoy and play, and we for him shall be guardians. He, his father Jacob, said, it will sadden me that you would take him away, and I fear that the wolf would eat him, while you from him are heedless. They said, if the wolf eats him while we are a band, then we are the losers. So when they went off with him and collectively agreed to put him in the hidden part of the well, we, mean God, revealed to him, to Yusuf, that you would inform them one day of the affair of theirs, and they were not aware. Yusuf's brother were not aware of God's revelation to Yusuf. And they came to their father at nightfall, weeping. They said, "O our father, we went racing and left Yusuf with our belongings, so ate him the wolf, and you would not believe us even if we were truthful." And they brought on his shirt false blood, on Yusuf's shirt, said Jacob, "No, but yourself had facilitated to you a matter. So pleasant patience, the patience of expecting a good outcome. And Allah is the helper over what you describe." Allah is the only helper to help me to withstand patiently the dilemma of the lie you just described. And there came a caravan, and they sent their water supplier. He let down his bucket. He said, "Good news, this is a young boy." And they concealed him with the merchandise, and Allah is all-knower of what they do. And they sold him for a reduced price, if you counted coins, and they were in him let go, glad to get any price. And said who bought him from Egypt to his wife, "Set him up generously. Perhaps he will benefit us, or we take him for a son." Like this, we, God, enabled to Yusuf in the land, and to teach him affairs interpretation. And Allah is predominant over his affairs, but most people don't know. And when he reached his strength, we brought him wisdom and knowledge. And like this, we reward the good doers. And seduced him, Yusuf, she who he is in her house, and she locked the doors and said, "I am yours." He said, "I seek refuge from Allah. He is my Lord that best sheltered me. Indeed, prosper not the wrongdoers." And she went for him, and he inclined to her. Has not he seen proof from his God? A sign from his God to stop him. Like this, we dismissed away from him evil and lewdness. He is among our devout worshippers. And they raced to the door, and she tore his shirt from the back, and they found her master, her husband, at the door. She said, "What is the sanction for who wanted evil with your household, but to be imprisoned or painful torment?" He said, "She seduced me and witnessed a witness from her family. If his shirt was torn from front, then she is truthful, and he is of the liars. And if his shirt was torn from the back, then she has lied, and he is truthful." So when he saw his shirt torn from the back, he said, "It's from your cunning. Indeed, your cunning is great. Yusuf, turn aside from this, and you," said to his wife, "seek forgiveness for your sin. You are among the wrongdoers." And said the women in the city, "The woman of the Aziz," the government, "is seducing her young man," her slave. "She is impassioned with his love. Indeed, we see her in a clear stray." So when she heard their slyness, she sent to them a banquet invitation, and prepared for them couches, and gave each one of them a knife, and said to Yusuf, "Come out before them." So when they saw him, they exulted, they said, "Oh my God." And they cut their hands in amazement, and said, "Glory to Allah, this is not a human, this is not but a gracious angel." She said, "That is what you blamed me for." And I enticed him, and he sought refuge, he abstained. And if he does not do what I order him, to submit to her seduction, he shall be imprisoned and will be among the belittled. He said, "My God, prison is dearer to me than what they invite me to. And unless you dismiss away from me their cunningness, I shall yearn to them and be among the ignorant. So responded to him his God and dismissed from him their cunningness. He is the all-hearing, the knowing. Then it appeared to them, mean the government and his council, after they saw the signs of Yusuf's innocence, to imprison him for a time. And entered the prison with him 2 young men. Said one of them, I see myself pressing booze. And said the other, I see myself carrying on my head bread that birds are eating off. Tell us its interpretation, we see you among the good doers. He said, mean Yusuf, you will receive the food that they provide, mean your daily prison food, but I will inform you of it before you receive it. This is from what my God had taught me. Indeed, I have left the people with a religion who don't believe in Allah, and they in the hereafter are disbeliever. And followed the religion of my fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. It was never for us to partner with Allah anything that is from Allah's favor upon us and upon the people, but most people are not thankful. O my 2 prison companions are scattered gods, mean also divided among themselves, better or Allah the one, the omnipotent. What you worship instead of him are just names that you have named by yourself and your fathers, for which Allah did not send down in it any authority. This decree is but from Allah, not to worship except him. This is the valuable, right, religion. But most people don't know, its value as they don't apply it. O my 2 prison companions, as for one of you, he will serve wine to his master. As for the other, he will be crucified and the birds will eat from his head. The matter has been decreed, by Allah, that you both in it have asked for interpretation. And he said to the one that he knew would survive among them, mention me before your master. But Satan caused him to forget the mention to his master. So he, Yusuf, remained in prison for a few years. Said the king, I have seen 7 fat cows being eaten by 7 meager cows, and 7 green spikes and others dry. O my counselors, assess to me my vision, if you for the visions can cross it from fantasy to reality. Worth noting, considering the time frame of Yusuf's story, the ruler was narrated accurately in the Quran as king, not Pharaoh, like in other Quran chapters. They said, a mixture of dreams, and we are not in dream interpretations knowing. And said the one who freed from them, released from prison, and remembering after a time, I will inform you of its interpretation, so send me, permit me to go find that interpreter. O Yusuf, the truthful one, explain to us about 7 fat cows being eaten by 7 meager cows, and 7 green spikes and others dry, that I may return to the people. Perhaps they will know, accept your explanation and know the truth. Said, you will plant for 7 years relentlessly, and what you harvest lived in its spikes, except a little from which you eat. Then comes after that 7 harsh, years, that will eat what you set forth for them, except for a little that you would fortify, store and guard. Then comes after that a year, the people in it will get relief, and in it they squeeze, they will be well relieved that they will squeeze the excess of the crop. Said the king, bring him, Yusuf, to me. When the messenger came to him, said, Yusuf, go to your master and ask him, what about the women who cut their hands? Indeed, my God is knowing of their cunning. Said, the king, what is this affair when you thought to seduce him? Said to these women, they said, Allah forbid, we did not know any evil from him. Said Aziz's wife, the governor wife, now the truth has parted. I thought to seduce him, and he is among the truthful. And that's so he knows that I did not betray him in his absence. She did not slander or thought revenge on him while he in prison. And Allah does not guide the cunning of the betrayers. And I do not clear myself. Indeed, the self constantly demands evil, except those whom my God had mercy upon. Indeed, my God is forgiving, merciful. And said the king, bring him to me. He will be exclusive to me. And when he spoke with him, the king interviewed Yusuf, he said, you are today for us at a trusted place. He said, Yusuf, place me over the treasuries of the land. I am a knowledgeable guardian. And like this, we, Allah, enable to Yusuf in the land to take over as he wishes. We strike with our mercy whom we will, and we do not lose the rewards of the good doers. But indeed, the reward of the hereafter is better for those who believed and were pious. Then came Yusuf's brother, and they entered upon him. He recognized them, and they did not recognize him. And when he provided them with their provision, merchandise for grains, he said, bring me a brother from your father. Don't you see that I give a full measure, and I am a good host? And if you don't bring him to me, next time, you shall not have measure from me, and don't come near. Apparently they chatted with Yusuf that they had a brother whom they left behind with their old father. They said, we will dissuade his father from him. Indeed, we will do. And he, Yusuf, said to his people, put their merchandise in their saddlebags, so they may know it when they go back to their people. Perhaps they will return. Yusuf gave them the grains and also returned back in secret to them their bartering merchandise, to entice them to come back with his brother for an extra load. And Allah knows best. So when they returned back to their father, to Jacob, they said, O our father, the measure is withheld from us, future grain provisions. So send with us our brother, so we will be given measures, and indeed we are to him guardian. He said, can I entrust him to you, same as I entrusted you with his brother from before? Allah is the best guardian, and he is the most merciful of the mercifuls. And when they opened their belongings, they found that their merchandise was returned to them. They said, what more can we need? Our merchandise was returned to us, and to supply our family, and guard our brother, and to increase a camel load, to get one extra for their younger brother. And that is an easy to get load. He said, I will not send him with you until you undertake a covenant from Allah, that you will bring him to me, except if you are surrounded. Some things out of your control happen. And when they undertook their covenant, he said, and Allah upon we say, authorize. And he said, O my sons, don't enter from one door, to Egypt, and enter from separate doors. To be extra cautious, knowing that their merchandise was returned to them and seems to be favored for no apparent reason by the person in charge in Egypt. And I cannot avail you against Allah with anything. Allah's wishes will prevail regardless. The decision is only to Allah. Upon him I have relied, and on him should rely those who seeks reliance. And when they entered from where their father ordered them, and that would not have availed them from Allah from anything, except for a need within the self of Jacob, which he satisfied. And indeed, he is of knowledge of what we taught him, but most people don't know. Jacob knows that planning according to the causes does not contradict with the reliance on Allah, because Allah created and controlled the causes and the results. And when they entered upon Yusuf, he took in his brother to himself, co-joined lodging, said, I am your brother, don't grieve over what they used to do, by mistreating you. And when he, Yusuf, provided them with their provision, he put the water bowl into the saddlebag of his brother. Then an announcer announced, O caravan, indeed you are thieves. They, Yusuf's brothers, said while approaching them, What do you miss? They said, We missed the king's cup, and whoever bring it will get a camel's load. That is my allegation. They said, By Allah, you know we have not come to cause spoil in the land, and we were never thieves. They, Yusuf's men, said, What is his penalty if you are liars? They, Yusuf's brother, said, The penalty for whom we find it in his bag is his penalty. Thus we penalize the wrongdoers. According to Jacob's law, the thief would be enslaved or remain in the service of those who he robbed from. They started with their bags before the bag of his brother, Yusuf's brother. Then they brought it out from his brother's bag. Like this we planned for Yusuf. He would not have taken his brother according to the king's law unless Allah has willed. Yusuf would not have taken his brother according to the law of Egypt had it not been for the penalty recommendation of the brothers. We, Allah, raises in ranks whomever we will, and above every knowledgeable, the all-knowing. They said, if he, Yusuf's brother, steals, there was a brother of his, they meant Yusuf, who stole before. So held it Yusuf within himself, and did not reveal it to them, that his aunt had falsely accused young Yusuf of stealing by placing a piece of jewelry in his belonging to keep him in her custody from her excessive love to him. He, Yusuf, said within himself, You are in an evil spot, because they actually stole a son from his father. And Allah is all-knowing of what you describe, say, of falsehood. They said, O Aziz, ruler, he has an old fragile father, so take one of us in place of him. Indeed, we see you among the kind ones. Said, Yusuf, Allah forbid that I take except whom we found our possession with. Then indeed we would be among the wrongdoers. When they despaired of him, they left conferring. Said the eldest, Don't you know that your father has undertaken upon you a covenant from Allah, and before that you squandered Yusuf? I will not leave the land till my father permits me, or Allah judges for me, and He is the best of judges. Go back to your father and say, Our father, your son, has stolen, and we did not testify, against his brother, except when we knew, after we verified, and we were no guardians of the unknown, and ask the village that we were in, and the caravan that we came in, indeed we are truthful. Said, Jacob, No, but yourself had facilitated to you a matter. So pleasant patience, the patience of expecting a good outcome, that may Allah will bring them all together, Yusuf, his brother, and the eldest son. Indeed, Allah is the knowing, the wise. And he turned away from them and said, Oh, my sorrow over Yusuf, and his eyes became white from sadness and became opaque. He bottled his sadness, and sight became in form of cataract. They say, By Allah, you don't leave remembering Yusuf till you become ruined, health and mental, or you become among those who perish. He said, But I complain my distress and sadness to Allah, and I know from Allah what you don't know. O my sons, go and feel, sense, a trace, from Yusuf and his brother, and don't despair from Allah's spirit, mean help, relief, guidance, or mercy. Indeed, none despair of Allah's spirits, but the disbelieving folks. And when they entered upon him, mean Yusuf, they said, O Aziz, adversity had touched us and our folk, and we came with resold merchandise, means second quality merchandise. Give us the full measurement portion as charity upon us. Indeed, Allah rewards the charitable. He said, mean Yusuf, did you realize what you did to Yusuf and his brother while you were ignorant, mean young and ignorant? They said, you are indeed Yusuf. Said, I am Yusuf, and this is my brother. Allah has blessed us. Indeed, who is pious and patient, Allah does not cause the loss of the rewards of the good doers. They said, by Allah, indeed, Allah had preferred you over us, and we were indeed wrong. He said, mean Yusuf, no blame upon you today. Allah forgive you, and He is the most merciful of the mercifuls. Go with this shirt of mine and cast it on my father's face, will become seeing, and bring me your family all together. And when the caravan departed, said their father, indeed I find wind of Yusuf, if you don't refute me. They said, by Allah, you are in your old delusion. And when the bearer arrived, he cast it, mean Yusuf's shirt, over his face. So he returned seeing and said, did not I tell you I know from Allah what that you don't know? They said, our father, forgive us for our sins. We were indeed wrongdoers. Said, I will ask forgiveness for you from my God. Indeed, He is the forgiving, the merciful. And when they entered upon Yusuf, he took his parents, in father and aunt, unto him, and said, enter Egypt, Allah willing, safely. And he raised his parents unto the throne, and they dropped to him prostrating. The 11 brothers, the father and the aunt, prostrated in salutation and thanks, and said, O my father, this is the interpretation of my vision from before. My God had made it a reality, and He did good by me, as He took me out of prison and brought you from the Bedouin, after Satan has oozed between me and my brothers. Indeed, my God is tender to whom He wills. Indeed, He is the knowing, the wise. My God, you have brought me sovereignty and taught me events interpretation, creator of the heavens and the earth. You are my guardian in this world and the hereafter. Take me as a Muslim, to die submissive to God, and join me to the righteous ones. This is from the news of the absence. We reveal it to you, Muhammad, peace be upon him, and you were not with them when they calculated their affairs well in deceit. And not most people, even if you, Muhammad, are keen to guide them, will believe. And you don't ask them for a fee for it. It is not except a reminder for the world. Quran is a savior in this world and hereafter. And numerous signs in the heavens and earth, they pass over it, and they from it, they side away. And most of them don't believe in Allah unless they associate others, other gods or reasons, with Him. Did they feel secure from the coming of the venom of torment from Allah, or come to them the hour, resurrection time, suddenly, while they don't perceive? Say, that is my way. I call to Allah with insight, I and those who follow me. It is certainly based on Allah's guidance, support by knowledge and the heart. Exalted is Allah, and I am not of those who associate others with Him. And we did not send before you, Muhammad, except men whom we reveal to them from among the people of the villages. Did they, the disbeliever, not walk in the earth and look how was the consequences of those before them? Indeed, the home of the hereafter is best for those who are pious. Can't you reason? that same consequences of good for good and evil for evil will happen in the hereafter. Until the messenger despaired, reached their human limits, and thought they were treated as liars by their people, there came our victory, and we save whom we will, and our might cannot be repelled from the guilty people. And there was in their stories, Yusuf and other prophets, a moral for those of deep minds, was never a forged narration, but a verification of that before his hands, to verify the previous holy books, and detailing everything and guidance and mercy for people who believe. End of chapter 12. Yusuf, Joseph.